So I heard something very interesting on the radio earlier and kind of put my mind in a different perspective. So this lady was married and her husband is starting to emotionally abuse her. So basically they're trying to follow their faith and all of a sudden um, he is trying to help her fall out of grace, basically. And he'll do anything and everything to try and get her to fall out of grace. And he'll be like mocking her, "Oh, how long is it going to be until you fall out of grace today?" And things like that. So just a form of an emotional abuse. Anyways, so basically, this lady calls in and she goes, "Well, we've been doing some counseling with the pastor." And so the guy had a really good point, and he's like, "Well, you have a full tank, but your motor is broken in your car. Um, you know, having full of grace, with the pastor isn't always going to resolve it. You need to go see an actual counselor, and they're going to help you with ways to be able to handle this." And so that kind of made sense, um, called into like a Christian Catholic radio, whatever it was. I didn't pay attention what station it was. Um, and it's not like he was trying to like degrade it. He was just basically trying to say, sometimes you can't get a certain service out of something. And that's probably why the husband stopped going, because she was like, "Oh, he only went once." Well, anyways, one example he said is why, the husband might be acting out is what he's really trying to say is, "I'm hurt." And, like a kid who skins their knee, they go to mommy and daddy and they say, "I'm hurt," and they want mommy and daddy to fix it all, okay? So he's basically lashing out with anger because he's hurt and because he doesn't know how to express it and he wants someone to fix it. He wants you to look at him and say, "Fix me, I'm broken." And basically, essentially what I was kind of gathering from that is someone's not fixing him. And I don't know if it's like, hey, a mom or dad passed away or something, or something is really severely lacking or making him depressed, but essentially his anger is coming from depression. And it's coming from something a lot deeper, and that's why it would be good for him to actually do the counseling, because he needs to determine where this is coming from if he has not clearly expressed where this is coming from. So it does make sense to try and get down to the root of what is really causing it. Because a lot of times when you think you know the problem, like, hey, just work is stressing me out or the bills are stressing me out, sometimes it's something deeper, like, hey, you're still hurting over someone passing away, or something way deeper, deep down, that you have not even resolved. And a lot of times people will try and not have people involved because they don't want them to share their burdens. But especially if you're married, you got to share those burdens. You got to be open. And I know you don't want to put that on the other person because you see how it hurts them or stresses them out, but you got to involve them. And I know this is completely different, but I'm going to use an example. If you've seen Pirates of the Caribbean #3, World at End or whatever it's called, basically there's a scene in there where she was supposed to marry William Turner, and I don't think they've gotten married quite yet. I kind of wasn't all the way paying attention to the movie at this point. But, she had kept a secret from him in part of this movie. And, that later came up and he wasn't happy about it. And then later on, he didn't tell her something, and he goes, "I didn't want to share the burden," And it's like, okay, wow, like, just seeing it, like, even just, like, in a movie. I know it's just a movie, but it's like, this is real world stuff. This actually really does happen. It's not just in a movie, but I can actually reference a movie that actually has this example. But yeah, especially if you're planning on getting married, or you are married, or getting really serious with the person, start opening up. It's gonna help everything. Communication really is key, and it's not just communicating and talking. It's really getting deep down into what's hurting and bothering you, and that person really needs to be there for you in those moments, because if you are willing to communicate what is really bothering you, that person really needs to understand that this could be a domino effect. If they don't try and help you, whether it's counseling or getting you more active, to get your mind off of it, or talking through it a little bit, when you need to, whatever the case may be, I don't know, but you need to start with the first step and don't ignore your partner's needs, their emotional needs. This is a really big thing. And when people shut out emotional needs, that's where the relationship starts failing. Is because then that partner starts looking for another way to feed their emotional needs, whether it's food or hanging out with other people or finding an activity that completely shuts the other person out. And then the other person is now feeling an emotion now, and it's just this back and forth, and you're just hurting someone. It starts usually with someone not opening up about something, and it really needs to be addressed.